Part 140. Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1391. When the three Lu Tianzi brothers arrived home, Lu Tianjun and Zhang Xiaoyu had already been home for 2 days, and all the elders they should meet had met. When Lu Tianzi handed the jewelry box to Lu's father, Zhang Xiaoyu held onto Zibao and refused to let go. If it weren't for the presence of her elders, she would have pulled Zibao around in circles. Zibao, you have grown so tall, what are you eating to grow? It's just that you're too thin. It's good to eat, Sister Xiaoyu. Zibao was also very happy to see Zhang Xiaoyu. Although he has a good memory, he can no longer remember what happened when he was 2, 3, or 4 years old. Fortunately, there are many photos at home, and Feng Qingxiu often tells him about past events, so he has a good impression of Zhang Xiaoyu. Zhang Xiaoyu said, I must have eaten too little, otherwise I wouldn't be so thin. Xiaoyu, come here, Father Lu called. Zhang Xiaoyu respected her elders very much and hurriedly pulled Zibao to Father Lu. Grandpa, what do you want me to do? Father Lu immediately closed the jewelry box after looking at it twice and handed it to her. Take it. What is this? Zhang Xiaoyu held the heavy jewelry box with curiosity on her face. The betrothal gift from our Lu family. After Father Lu finished speaking, everyone saw Zhang Xiaoyu blushing. Grandpa. Lu Tianjun said, Grandpa gives it to you, just take it. He remembered that his grandfather said that when his uncle and aunt got married, he also gave it to his aunt in private. Lu Tianzi nodded like a chicken pecking rice, and said with a smile, yes, sister-in-law, although there are no 3 matchmakers and 6 betrothals now, and we didn't buy 72 legs of 3 turns and 1 ring, we do have the ancestral betrothal gift for us. You, on behalf of our Lu family, let me replenish you after 3 turns and 1 ring of 72 legs. Tianzi, Zhang Xiaoyu stamped her feet. He's right. A smile appeared on Lu Tianjun's dark face. Don't be angry. I'm not angry, I just feel it's too heavy. Zhang Xiaoyu's hands were heavy and her heart was heavy. She just heard that Lu Zhang and Feng Qingxiu asked Lu Tianzi to bring them, that year. Uncle and my aunt has already given it to me, and there is really no need to give it to me now. My uncle and aunt have to raise 5 children. Lu Zhang and Feng Qingxiu were both old and young, and their living expenses were high. However, she and Lu Tianjun were young and had no burden. The army was responsible for food, clothing, and housing, and their family subsidies were limited. How could they ask for their things? Father Lu already liked Zhang Xiaoyu's bold and cheerful personality, and after hearing these words, he liked her even more. From beginning to end, the Zhang family and Zhang Xiaoyu made no demands for the marriage between Lu Tianjun and Zhang Xiaoyu. What they valued was Lu Tianjun, not any external factors. Your uncle and aunt are capable. You two don't have to worry about the child's food, clothing, housing, and transportation. Father Lu knows very well that his daughter-in-law's space contains a lot of supplies. Isn't it the most lacking of food and clothing at present? There is no need to worry about education. Although your family has no request, we can't take it seriously. This is what you deserve. It will happen when Akan Au and Tianzi get married in the future. Our family has come to this point, and Tianwan there's no way he can compare with his father when he gets married, so just make do with it. Although Guancheng and Guanyu are not biological grandsons, there is no difference between them in Lu's father's heart. In the past few years since Lu Tianjun joined the army, Guancheng has shouldered all the burdens on the family. He sees it in his eyes and remembers it in his heart. Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1392. After hearing what Father Lu said, before Zhang Xiaoyu could speak, Guancheng said, Grandpa, Akan and I don't want it. The Lu family had already been very affectionate in raising the 2 brothers, so how could they take away the things belonging to the descendants of the Lu family? Even if he didn't know what was in the jewelry box, he knew it must be valuable. Father Lu glared at him. It's a betrothal gift, not for you. Stop being so sentimental. Lu Tianzi and Guan Yu covered their mouths and snickered. They had long said that they could not contradict their grandfather in person. Have they been taught a lesson now? As juniors, they cannot directly refuse the things given by their grandfather, uncles, and aunts. They will have to find a way to make up for it when their younger siblings get married. Zhang Xiaoyu had no choice but to accept it. She lived in the west room where Feng Qingyun lived at home. Lu Tianjun and Zi Bao lived in the east room of Lu Zhang and his wife. Before they could lie down, they heard Zhang Xiaoyu calling his name from outside, "Come quickly." Zi Bao kicked his legs, kicked off his cotton pants, and said with a smile, "Sister Xiaoyu is calling you, brother. Go to the bed first and wait until I come back to sleep." Lu Tianjun touched his head, put on the military cotton padded jacket he had just taken off, opened the curtain and saw Zhang Xiaoyu walking around in the main room, holding a jewelry box in her hand. "What's up?" Zhang Xiaoyu put the jewelry box on the table and asked him to look at it together. "Look. This jewelry box has 3 layers in total. It can be said to be a small box. Each layer of drawers contains all kinds of jewelry and jade. The pair of ruby-encrusted dragon and phoenix bracelets that Feng Qingxiu gave her before were only a fraction of the price." Lu Tianjun smiled and said, "I don't need to look at it, just keep it." Zhang Xiaoyu's eyes widened. "You let me keep them? Do you know how much these things are worth? Except for gold, which can be exchanged for some money, everything else is worthless in the black market. Didn't I buy some for you? You have also been to the black market yourself, and you can buy a lot for 10 or 20 yuan." Lu Tianjun authentic understatement. Zhang Xiaoyu puffed up her face. "You and I both know that just because something is worthless on the black market doesn't mean it's really worthless. Before the founding of the People's Republic of China, which of these things was not valuable? Internationally, jewelry and diamonds are still very expensive. It's not like she has never met foreigners before, so she knows the market situation in their country very well." Lu Tianjun said in a low voice, "Don't think too much, these are the things of our Lu family. Of course the jewelry and the like are for the daughter-in-law and daughter-in-law. I guess they were given to the aunt by the grandfather before, and the aunt is now giving them to the daughter-in-law and daughter-in-law. Gave it to us. A large part of my parents' belongings during their lifetimes have been preserved and kept by my uncle and aunt. I don't know if they are hidden in some nook and corner. My uncle said that when it is peaceful outside, I will Tianzi was on his own, so he gave my parents' things to me and Tianzi." Zhang Xiaoyu looked at him blankly. "What else? If you tell me this, aren't you worried about me leaking it?" "Can you?" Lu Tianjun asked. "Of course not," Zhang Xiaoyu answered very simply. "People are selfish. Just because I am willing to dedicate my life to the country does not mean that I will dedicate everything to the country. You see, I'll spend the salary myself. Besides, you said these things are worthless, so let's keep the worthless things ourselves." A hint of slyness flashed in his eyes. Lu Tianjun smiled and said, "You're right. If it's gold, that's all. It can support national construction. Handing over jewelry and antiques will only lead to disaster." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1393. Jewelry and fine clothes are all luxuries for capitalist hedonists and will only be destroyed. Of course, those who take advantage of the opportunity to enrich themselves are another matter. Except for those young and passionate students who don't know the value, adults are not fools. They secretly hide a few items and no one can find them. They will take them out in the future after the news is over. Zhang Xiaoyu took out an jade bracelet from a compartment in the jewelry box drawer and put it on her wrist. Does it look good? She stretched out the light wheat-colored hand bowl in front of Lu Tianjun and shook it at the same time. It's beautiful. Jade is most respected for its green color, and the emerald green bracelet looks crystal clear under the kerosene light, so it is naturally very beautiful. Lu Tianjun always knew that his aunt liked jade the most, and he also told him to buy it for her when he saw someone selling jade on the black market. Unexpectedly, she gave Zhang Xiaoyu her favorite bracelet, which was included in his mother's dowry list he had seen. It seems that there is no such pair of bracelets. Although his mother didn't care much about external things, most of her dowry included gold and gems. I heard from my grandpa that at that time, it was a very popular place. Lu Tianjun had a good memory. He looked carefully at the contents of the jewelry box and found that most of them were not his mother's dowry. Zhang Xiaoyu took off the bracelet and put it back, pushed the drawer, and closed the lid. When I was a child, I also liked to wear beautiful hairpins and red headbands, and liked beautiful clothes. I remember that I also wore a small floral braggie. I don't know what happened later. It seems that after we broke up with each other, my father and my brother and sister-in-law confiscated these things and refused to let me wear them. I cried for a long time. There is no normal girl who does not love beauty, and there is no girl who does not like sparkling jewelry, let alone lesbians who keep the current regulations in mind and strictly abide by them. Lu Tianjun felt a little distressed when he heard this. It doesn't matter. From now on, you can wear it for me at home and don't let outsiders see it. Zhang Xiaoyu smiled and said, we are all in the army, and there are strict regulations on food, clothing, housing, and transportation. At that time, I asked my dad to keep the bracelets that Aunt Kingxiu gave me. I dare not carry these things with me. After returning to the capital, I have to leave it to my dad to hide it for me. Aunt Kingxiu is so generous that she is not afraid of surprise inspections and carries so many valuables with her. Uncle's rank is so high, most people won't come to search. Lu Tianjun told the truth. Besides, Aunt's ability to hide things is unparalleled in the world, and no one can find what she hides. After he and Guancheng handed over the things he and Guancheng bought from the black market to Feng Qingxiu, they never saw the shadow of these things again. Zhang Xiaoyu hummed, we are a bit older, both are soldiers, and our salary level is not low. We can support a family and make a living. It doesn't matter whether we have jewelry or not. You also buy them for me. It's quite a lot. Let's give the rest of the things at home to Tianzi and Zibao. Especially Fubao, she loves beauty so much. She will be happy if you give her more as a dowry. Lu Tianjun felt very warm in his heart. Do you know how many things our parents left behind? Give them all, don't you feel bad? Then what's there to feel bad about? It's not given to outsiders. Zhang Xiaoyu looked at him inexplicably. Do you feel bad? You have to share it equally with Tianzi and not give any to Zibao and the others. Even if you are the eldest grandson, you won't do this. Bullies. Uncle Lu and Aunt Kingxiu raised you and Tianzi. This kindness is much more valuable than gold, silver, and jewelry. In times of famine, can gold, silver, and jewelry be used as food? Can. Even if you get it on the black market, you may not be able to exchange it for 2 kilograms of whole grains. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1394. Hearing Zhang Xiaoyu's words, Lu Tianjun smiled even brighter. In his heart, Lu Zhang and Feng Qingxiu were his biological parents, and Zibao Fubao and the others were his biological brothers and sisters. How could he care about the property left by his parents? I am simply proud of Zhang Xiaoyu's big heart. I'm not distressed, not at all, I just feel happy. The magnanimity and kindness in your words made me very happy. My uncle and aunt's kindness in raising me and Tianzi is not just some gold, silver, and jewelry. I don't feel sorry for them even if I can give them anything comparable. Lu Tianjun held Zhang Xiaoyu's hand. Xiaoyu, it's one thing for me to think so, because Tianzi and I are involved, and we know very well that our uncle and aunt are here. The hard work we put in, you can say that, is beyond my expectation, really. We are getting married soon. Of course I have to think about things from your point of view. Respecting the old and loving the young is the most important thing to do. And you can't forget your roots or be ungrateful. Zhang Xiaoyu rolled her eyes at him but didn't look away. His hand, because she just liked Lu Tianjun's sincerity and his affectionate way of always sending money to his family. Lu Tianjun grinned widely, almost reaching his ears. Zhang Xiaoyu thought about what he said. You said before that it would be divided between you and Tianzi, but not Zibao and the others. Lu Tianjun whispered, my grandfather told me a long time ago that part of the property saved by the Lu family, including my grandmother's dowry, will belong to my uncle and aunt in the future, and my parents' property belongs to me and Tianzi. Because, Dad, when my mother got married, my grandfather gave half of the family property to his parents, and most of it was saved. However, when my uncle and aunt got married, the Lu family had been confiscated for several years, and they had nothing. Those things belong to uncle and aunt, don't you think? Yes, Grandpa's distribution is fair. Zhang Xiaoyu had no objection. Instead, she was very happy because she knew the secret of the Lu family, which showed that Lu Tianjun had not deceived her sincerely. The future that belongs to us is up to us. You can give me more gifts from Tianzi, and give me some blessings and triplets. My uncle's family has many children, so it's definitely not enough. Zhang Xiaoyu just likes Zibao, she likes Zibao the most. When she came back from training with Lu Tianjun early the next morning, she became anxious when she didn't see Zibao. Where is Zibao? Zhang Xiaoyu pulled Lu Tianzi and asked. Lu Tianzi said, Zibao went to the back to find those old men. It's really easy to learn. I have to work harder. Neither he nor Guanyu had any ambition, and only studied things that interested them. But seeing Zibao like this, he deeply felt that if the two brothers continued fishing for 3 days and drying nets for 2 days, Zibao would catch up from behind. In the 2 days since Zhang Xiaoyu came, in addition to meeting her father and fellow villagers, she and Lu Tianjun also met the group of old men and old ladies under the leadership of Lu's father. Many of them were acquaintances, especially Zhou Fengshu and others who lived in the cowshed. I was almost stunned, and once again I felt that the Lu family was really kind and willing to take such a big risk to take care of them. After cooking, Zhang Xiaoyu and Lu Tianjun delivered meals to the 4 elders of the cowshed, and saw Zibao running in from behind at some point. Father Lu was discussing with the 4 elders about letting Zibao go to school. When Ruyu, Jinruoku and others suggested that even if he didn't go, he would still have to show his name. The so-called education level in the outside world depends on the school, not the knowledge reserve. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1395. Zibao doesn't want to go to school. He wants to learn writing, painting, foreign languages, mathematics, and Grandpa Jin's lever principle and chemical effects. He doesn't want to learn drinking water does not forget the well digger or the navigation of the sea depends on the helmsman. He just listened to it once, remember. Seeing his grandson's reluctance, Father Lu touched his head and said, your mother wrote to me last month and told me about this. I'll tell the principal and let you know when you want to go. I just go there for a few days and get to know my classmates. When I don't want to go, I study with my grandparents at home. I also study the textbook content, just Chinese and mathematics. When the exam comes, you just have to take the exam. But you have to study hard and get good grades. You have to do well. It will be a shame if you fail to pass the junior high school or high school. Zibao finally smiled and said, I know all the brothers, sisters, and younger brothers in our team. But you don't know the students from other brigades who come to our varsity. Father Lu pointed out this point rudely. You are a child, and children must behave like children. Don't always think about studying. Zibao made a face. School starts at the beginning of the year every year. After the 15th day of the first lunar month, school starts later this year, on March 1st. On this day, Father Lu took Zibao to register and went directly to Principal Xie. He had been in the bullpen for a while when he was in trouble, but he returned to school after classes resumed, which naturally opened the door to Zibao's convenience. Lu's father didn't plan to go to Zibao's Yahung class, and Zibao didn't want to go either. The Yahung class was full of 7-year-old children who couldn't learn anything. I know Zibao's homework very well. Even junior high school students may not learn as many and complicated things as he does. Let me give Zibao a few papers from last year to do, and then decide which grade he should go to. Father Lu listened to Principal Xie's words, asked Zibao what he meant, and agreed. Principal Xie directly took out the test papers for the 3rd and 4th grades and asked Zibao to sit down at his desk to do the questions while he chatted with Father Lu. Zibao had a sharp eye and took the 4th grade paper directly. There are 5 years of primary school, 4 years of junior high school and high school. 9 years is really a waste of time for Zibao. It is 1 year longer than his current age. He still likes to study with his grandparents. When Principal Xie and Father Lu saw this, they couldn't help but smile at each other. In less than an hour, the 2 papers were completed. Zibao happily handed them to Principal Xie. Grandpa Xie, please mark them for me quickly. Principal Xie approved quickly and couldn't help but said, whose family does this smart kid belong to? They are from the Lu family. Grandpa Xie, what score can I get in the exam? Zibao stretched his neck to look at the paper and suddenly saw the scores marked on it, 91 in Chinese and 99 in mathematics. I can go directly to 5th grade. You should go to the 4th grade, Principal Xie teased him, you are so young and are in the 5th grade. Big kids are not allowed to bully you. You can enter school at the age of 7. You attend a Yahung class, a 1-year course. Many students start school when they are around 10 years old. The youngest students in the 4th and 5th grades are 12 or 13 years old, and the oldest ones are 15 or 16 years old. Who can rest assured that someone as young as Zibao is in 5th grade? Fortunately, Father Lu just wanted Zibao to have a name in the school, so he signed up to pay tuition and go to 4th grade as Principal Xie said. Zibao didn't even enter the class, so he took the textbooks and dragged Lu's father home, taking the papers he made as well. He was very unhappy when he didn't get 100 points. He wanted to know where he went wrong. First, make up the 4 chapters I owed yesterday, and ask for a monthly ticket on the last day of the month. I will continue in the afternoon. It will only be valid if I go to the higher level hospital at night. Woo woo. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1396. When they learned that Zibao's 4th grade test paper could score more than 90 points, especially in mathematics, it reached 99 points. Even though they knew that the elementary school curriculum was very simple, everyone was surprised and praised Zibao one after another. Zibao is great. Zibao is so awesome, he scored 99 points in the math test. Zibao can go straight to 5th grade. It's a genius for such a young child to go to 5th grade. Zibao raised his little head proudly, throwing away the unhappiness he felt before coming. When Jin Ruoka was giving Zibao a lecture, Wen Ruyu whispered to Lu's father, the starting point for the 4th grade is too high. He is still so young. How can he go to school with older children and not be afraid of others looking at him? I really feel that Zibao will be in the 1st or 2nd grade. Well, children should behave like children. If you are too good, you will attract people to gossip. After all, schools are not focused on academics now. Father Lu thought seriously for a moment and nodded to Wenryu. I will discuss it with Zibao tonight and tell Principal Xie tomorrow that I will transfer Zibao to the first or second grade, just because I am afraid that Zibao will be unhappy. Although he is young, Zibao has a strong competitive spirit. Explain it to him carefully. If it doesn't work, just bring Zioxu in. Say it's Zioxu, Wenryu said. He values Feng Qingxiu, loves Wujai Wu, and likes Zibao, his little disciple, very much. Zibao listens to his mother the most, and it's not like he was lying. Zioxu did mention before that Zibao should go to school step by step. Father Lu hummed, recalling that Feng Qingxiu had indeed said that he did not want his children to be too conspicuous. Since ancient times, any tree that is beautiful in the forest will be destroyed by the wind. Wenryu looked at him and couldn't help but said, I know you love Zibao and rely on him for everything, but he is too young, so many things in life have to be arranged by us adults. We can't let him do whatever he wants. I understand. Father Lu felt a little ashamed. He really only cared about Zibao's mood and thoughts. If it were Lujiang or Lutianjun, Lutianziguan city past territory, he would never indulge in such a bottomless manner. As long as you understand, Zibao started very high anyway. He just got a name in school and spent most of his time studying with us. What's the difference between 4th grade and 1st and 2nd grade? Father Lu was very decisive and discussed the matter with Zibao when he went to bed at night. Just when Zibao was very unhappy, Father Lu continued, Zibao, Grandpa has thought about it for a long time. In order to let you and your grandparents study for a few more years, he wants you to go to the 1st or 2nd grade. Ah, a big question mark flashed in Zibao's eyes. Father Lu patiently explained to him, elementary school and junior high school are in our brigade. Grandpa Xie can let you not come to class and just take the exam. Grandpa believes that you will definitely get into junior high school and high school, but high school is different. The high school is in the city and there are no teachers we know. The teachers will not allow you to miss class every day for no reason. If you start school in the 1st or 2nd grade, you can go to high school 2 years later. I left my grandparents 2 years later. Zibao suddenly realized it and turned his eyes to the textbook on the bedside table. I got the 4th grade textbook, Grandpa. It doesn't matter. Grandpa, just tell Grandpa Xie that he will be transferred to the 1st grade. Whether the textbooks are changed or not will not have much impact on you, but it is still a good thing because you still have to come to school occasionally. Hearing that his grandson said, Lu's father was overjoyed that he was relieved, and he also pursued the victory, fearing that he would regret it. Zibao immediately held out 2 fingers and said, 2nd grade. I don't want to go to 1st grade. Father Lu nodded, okay, 2nd grade will be 2nd grade, it's better than going directly to 4th grade to shock people. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1397. Principal Xie was very happy and immediately transferred Lu Tianmao to the 2nd grade. Actually, there is no need for you to condone Zibao not going to school. When you are away from work, you can let Zibao come to school to educate you. Children should play with children and cultivate their feelings as classmates. Principal Xie said, students go to school late and finish school early, right after you go to work and before you go off to work. Zibao's study and schooling with you do not affect each other at all. The reason for this phenomenon is that everyone does not take study seriously. Many children, especially girls, come to school after making breakfast and doing housework. They go home from school early and continue doing housework or digging hogweed and wild vegetables to earn work points. Some students come to school with younger brothers and sisters aged 1 to 3 or 4 on their backs. What can Principal Xie say? Nothing can be said. Now is labor the most glorious, the main goal when focusing on production, learning. It would be great if classes can resume. There are still many older girls in various brigades who do not come to school or drop out early, and this is not the case in Wanglu Brigade. Father Lu smiled slightly after listening to Principal Xie's words. We all have this plan. Spring is here and the team is getting busier and busier. We can't take Zibao with us every day. We will definitely send him to school. Zibao is young and is in the 2nd grade. The students are all 10 or 11 or 12 years old, so you have to keep an eye on Zibao for us and don't let the older kids bully him. Don't worry, I'm keeping my eyes on him. It's not like Principal Xie doesn't know that Zibao is the treasure of the Lu family and even the Wanglu Brigade. Many old people privately say that Zibao has a good life. Everything goes smoothly. Father Lu didn't send Zibao to school immediately, as he wasn't so busy yet. As the young men in the Wanglu Brigade grew up and the labor force became larger and larger, the work assigned to these old men by Wang Zhenkuo became lighter than before. The main reason was that the situation above had changed slightly and he was not as strict with them at the beginning. For example, Father Lu and the 4 elders of the cattle shed mainly worked to feed the cattle, horses, mules and donkeys, as well as 6 pigs, clean the cattle, sheep and pig pens, cut grass and dig vegetables. The work is not heavy, it is very tedious, and there is not much free time at the end of the day. Zhang Xiaoyu and Ding Haifeng were very familiar with each other, and Zhou Fengshu was also her father's old comrade in arms, so she and Lu Tianwan often came to help. In name only, they were helping Lu's father, which actually reduced the 4 elders' workload. Xiaoyu, you are very discerning. If I have the opportunity to meet your father, I will definitely praise you. After listening to Ding Haifeng's words, Zhang Xiaoyu said proudly, that's right, don't you know who I am, Zhang Xiaoyu, with my natural piercing eyes. You don't need to praise me, my dad said I have good taste. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone knew how satisfied Zhang Yun was with Lu Tianjun. I also have a new understanding of her magnanimity. There was a smile in Lu Tianjun's eyes, and Guancheng became jealous and dragged him out with one hand. What are you doing? While I'm at home, I want to learn from some seniors' experiences. Lu Tianjun was good at seizing opportunities, and Zhang Xiaoyu dragged him to help with the idea of asking him to consult the old revolutionaries. Guancheng glanced at him sideways. Is your study more important, or is it your brother and me? Lu Tianjun thought for a while and said confidently, study is more important, the opportunity is fleeting, I have to seize it. Brother, a born brother, I will still be a brother in the future, I can't run away. Guancheng made a sound, and the sound was not quiet. However, he wasn't really angry. I'm asking you to do something, you must help without any hesitation. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1398. When Lu Tianjun heard this, he immediately adjusted his attitude and asked what was going on. Guancheng's face turned slightly red. He looked more handsome and fairer than Lu Tianjun. Although he was often exposed to the wind and sun, Lu Tianjun still saw this blush. Huh, Lu Tianjun widened his eyes and suddenly had an idea. Is it related to your going to the capital to find a job? In fact, he wanted to ask if it was related to the lifelong event, because he and Zhang Xiaoyu had met Feng Qingyun before going home. How could he not know about Zhong Wengxiu after meeting Feng Qingyun? After arriving home, because Guancheng did not mention it, Lu Tianjun and Zhang Xiaoyu endured it again and again, wanting to see when Guancheng would take the initiative to mention it. Unexpectedly, he could not help it so soon and set his sights on Zhang Xiaoyu. Why Zhang Xiaoyu? Zhang Xiaoyu used to be an art soldier in the art troupe, and now she still has frequent contacts with the art troupe. Anyway, Lu Tianjun knew very well that the person this cousin wanted to ask for help must not be him. If Lu Tianjun and Zhang Xiaoyu were not coming back, Guancheng would have set off for the capital long ago. He smiled at Lu Tianjun in a gentle and elegant manner. That's right, just tell me whether you can help or not, in one sentence, it's very simple. Help, of course, as long as I can help, I will do my best. Lu Tianjun smiled and repeated Guancheng's previous words. That's good. You are worthy of being a good brother, thank you. Guancheng pondered for a moment, and then said, I don't need your help with the work, Uncle Zheng Jinrui has already arranged it for me, I can just go to him directly in the capital. I want to ask you to trouble Comrade Xiaoyu to take care of someone for me, and don't let the powerful bully her. Who is it? Xiaoyu was actually disturbed. Lu Tianjun continued to pretend that he didn't know Zhong Wengziu. Guancheng coughed twice. It's the teacher's granddaughter, Comrade Zhong Wengziu, who is in the art troupe and has a good relationship with my aunt. She left her hometown at a young age. When you take care of my aunt, please take care of her. Lu Tianjun said, Grandpa Jin's granddaughter, good, good, good. Guancheng has always been arrogant, and fell in love with Zhong Wengziu at first sight, which surprised him. At this time, Aunt Su came over. Ah Cheng, I finally remembered who Zhong Wengziu is, the first sentence she blurted out when she saw her nephew. Guancheng was stunned. Aunt, what did you say? Do you know Comrade Wengziu? He liked Zhong Wengziu, and decided to find a job in the capital to pursue Zhong Wengziu. After returning, he naturally did not hide it from the elders in his family, that is, Father Lu and Uncle Su and Aunt Su. He did not mention this to Jin Ruoku. He did not want Jin Ruoku to speak well of him in front of Zhong Wengziu just because he became Jin Ruoku's apprentice and took care of him. When he told Uncle Su and Aunt Su about Zhong Wengziu's family situation, he found that Uncle Su and Aunt Su were a little stunned. At that time, he thought they were because he fell in love with Zhong Wengziu at first sight. Now, after listening to Aunt Su's words, it seems that there is something else. Aunt Su didn't say anything. I remember you said that Zhong Wengziu was a capitalist girl, of course, a former capitalist. Her grandparents defected abroad and her father was missing. Am I right? Yes, her mother had a hard time with her, so she remarried a doctor. I remember that Wengziu's grandfather was a good friend of your uncle and me, named Zhong Shi, but his son and daughter had drawn a clear line with them a long time ago, so I didn't think of it for a while. And Su paused. I know that the maiden name of Lao Zhong's daughter-in-law is Jin, and her name is Ding Xiang, but I didn't expect it to be the daughter of brother Jin Ruoku. My stomach still hurts, the pain is indescribable. I owe 6 or 8 chapters, forget it, I'll make it up one day after I recover. I want football tickets at the end of the month, and I want monthly tickets. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1399. The more Aunt Su talked, the more emotional she became, almost not believing everything she thought. After hearing Aunt Su's words, Guancheng was stunned. He never expected that Zhong Wengziu's grandparents who defected abroad were actually good friends of Uncle Su and Aunt Su. He couldn't help blurting out, is it Mr. Zhong Shi who went to Hong Kong the year of your accident, gentlemen? Zhong Shi was the main reason why Uncle Su and Aunt Su were transferred to the Wanglu Brigade. The memory of Guancheng is very deep. Lu Tianjun also remembered, what a coincidence. Aunt Su smiled while stroking her hands. Yes, it's such a coincidence. Coincidences are not impossible to write down. This God's arrangement is really not determined by people. After all the twists and turns, there is always something to do with it. Have you told the teacher? Guancheng asked. Aunt Su's smile faded and she shook her head. No, Zhong Shi's son abandoned his daughter and granddaughter. As Zhong Shi's old friends, we all feel shameless. How can we have the nerve to tell him? Just like brother Jin asked his granddaughter, okay, tell him everything is fine, you still don't want to worry the old man. When Lu Tianjun heard this, he suddenly said, Grandma Su, what is the name of Comrade Zhong Wengziu's father? Let's pay attention in the future. Maybe we can meet him by chance like today. The capitalist's son disappeared so completely that he either went abroad or changed his name in China. Of course, it is also possible that he just changed his life in another place. Because of the inconvenient transportation and lack of information, Jin Dingxiang and Zhong Wengziu could not find him anywhere and did not have any information about him. All things are possible, not set in stone. And Su replied without thinking, his name is Zhong Hua, the name of Zhong Shengziu. Zhong Wengziu's name actually comes from her father's name, which was given by Zhong Shi. When Zhong Wengziu was born, the Zhong family had already declined. It was earlier than the time of our accident, but Zhong Shi was still very happy about the arrival of his granddaughter. Unfortunately, the Zhonghua brothers and sisters could not bear the treatment that fell from the sky to the ground, and their lives and work suffered many setbacks. They were very disappointed with their parents. The relationship was severed and the boundaries were drawn. Aunt Su was lamenting. The biggest consolation for her and Uncle Su was that her children still exchanged letters with them over the years and did not draw a clear line with their parents. Occasionally they would send some specialties or money from the place where they lived. Although it was not much, it was appreciated. They are all married and have children, and their lives are tight. Uncle Su and his wife do not have much requirements for them. Aunt Su and Aunt Su are now living under someone else's roof. They only rely on the rations they get from their work points plus half a year's worth of vegetables, which is just enough. They have no way to support their children, and they are too embarrassed to send Feng Qingxiu's things to them. They don't have the nerve to do so. However, compared to being divided by their children and the few old people who live with Zhong Shaihe, they are already content. In this life, the loneliness of their children hurts the heart and lungs of the elderly more than the bullying from outside. Guancheng and Lu Tianjun remembered the name Zonghua, and then Lu Tianjun asked, is there any other name? Many people use pseudonyms. Did he use a pseudonym, so Comrade Zhong Wengziu and his daughter could not find him? When Aunt Su heard this, she immediately patted her thigh and said, why didn't I think of that? Yes, he has an alias. What's it called? Lu Tianjun and Guancheng asked in unison. Jin Zonghua. Aunt Su replied, yes, that's right, it's Jin Zonghua. He has been abroad before. This pseudonym is derived from the two characters Zonghua. Zhong is called Jinzong, plus 10. Magnificent. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1400. Guancheng hummed, Auntie is well informed and well informed. I'll go back and ask her if she has any clues. In his heart, Feng Qingxiu is omnipotent. Now that Aunt Dingxiang has remarried, Comrade Zhong Wengziu has a good relationship with her stepfather. In fact, there is no need to find Zhonghua. Lu Tianjun said something fairer, however, Comrade Zhong Wengziu must want to know the reason why mother and daughter were abandoned by their father. We will leave in a few days, go to find Aunt first, and then return to the capital. You come with us, you have to go to the capital anyway. Guancheng thought for a moment and had no objection. Are you going to get married when you go back? Grandpa must be with you, right? Speaking of the marriage, Lu Tianjun's eyes were full of joy. Yes, the marriage report has been approved. We can get the marriage certificate when we go back. There is no need to hold a wedding. Just have a meal with your family. Everything will be done as usual. Simplicity is the main thing. Guancheng suddenly smiled. I have to follow Zibao as soon as he comes back. It's not stressful enough. Lu Zhang and Feng Qingxiu had completely forgotten about this, and they were not sure about the wedding date of Lu Tianjun and Zhang Xiaoyu. Now Lu's father and others came to the army without notifying them. Feng Qingxiu was cleaning up the house with Zhang Xiaoyu. Stomping your feet, making mistakes. However, not only Fu Bao and the triplets were happy to meet Zi Bao again, she was also happy. Zhang Xiaoyu smiled and said, "What's the point? Didn't Zi Bao come home just in time to register for school? His grades are very good, 90% in Chinese, 99% in mathematics, and the 4th grade paper is here. What's more, Zi Bao followed the adults around and was obedient all the way. I think brother Guancheng is more troublesome. He asked me to take care of Wengziu. Who can't see his intentions? Well, Wengziu has a gentle temper and is not bad looking. I don't believe that no one in the army is keeping an eye on her, but if I come forward, they will definitely give her face." "Are there many big brothers in the army?" Feng Qingxiu asked. She remembered what Feng Qingyun had mentioned when he first joined the army, he Tian Tian and he Rong Rong. They came and left when they wanted, which made people angry. Zhang Xiaoyu calmly said, "Isn't this something that has been happening in recent years? When the policy of going to the mountains and countryside is implemented, except for the children of those who have lost power and have to comply with the policy to go to the mountains and countryside and have to leave the city, generally who are the most powerful people are willing to let their children go to the countryside. Go to the countryside to receive re-education from poor and lower middle peasants. They are not stupid, so how can they not understand the gap between urban and rural areas? Those with some connections have already arranged jobs for their children in the city to avoid the policy of moving to the countryside. The only way out is to join the army." She didn't continue, but Feng Qingxiu understood it as soon as she heard it. Actually, there are only so many brothers in the courtyard. After the recruits are trained, they are assigned to military areas and scattered to various units. If they are really gathered in the same unit, no one would agree. Zhang Xiaoyu continued, "The instructions of the troops are higher than the all-in-all, the soldiers of the grand courtyard who are in important positions, even if their families are very powerful and have no right to transfer them, can still go to the battlefield when it is time to go to the battlefield. They will not run away because of their family background. Basically, those who come and go as soon as they want. They are unimportant literary soldiers and the like." Feng Qingxiu nodded. The troops were strictly managed. It was never anyone's decision. It was impossible to let those soldiers from the big courtyard do whatever they wanted. As for the future, that's for later.